Hey guys, welcome back. So in this video, I am doing something a little bit different. As you can see, I've sped up the video, and all I'm going to do is sit back here and kind of commentate on the actual process. And I'll probably bring up a few of my, personal methods and struggles, and maybe ask you what yours are as well. So just keep watching; you'll like it. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do now before you forget, and like and comment and all that good stuff at the end of the video, because I am new here and I am trying to grow. It takes a long time for me to, make these videos and edit and all that good stuff. So I want to do as much as I can for you guys. Anyway, just to let you know, I'm using a lead holder. So it's a 2 millimeter lead, and I'm using 2H lead on this one. And, basically before I started recording, I'd already done a underdrawing, which basically, if you don't know, an underdrawing is a layout of your sketch. And then what you'll do is you'll just have the shapes and forms there. You won't go too much into detail, but you can go ahead and have as much information there as possible. And then you erase it and just leave a light, kind of ghost of a sketch behind. And then what you do after that is you'll sharpen your pencils or whatever medium you're using, and you'll come back in and you'll kind of redraw, but you'll make sure that everything now is, the line work is going to be more concise. You're going to have your details and rendering added to it, and you're going to spend a lot more time on it. In fact, this sketch I did nonstop, and it took about an hour and a half. Now you guys get to see it in 15 minutes or so, but yeah, I did an hour and a half without taking a break. And when you're really into art, as you guys probably know, you can get into this flow state, into the zone, as they say, and you can just keep drawing and drawing. And sometimes I have to set an alarm for myself to make sure that I eat and drink, because I can really, really dive in and just, not stop. And just for health reasons in general, you want to be able to, stop and get up and walk around, go to the gym, eat, drink, stretch, have a life. But anyway, so working on Spider-Man's head now. Now, if you can see, the theme of this sketch is Spider-Man is kind of torn in between two of his love interests, and one of them is Black Cat, and the other is, as you know, Mary Jane. And so what I did is I kind of just divided the sketch in half. And on one side, we have the traditional Spidey costume. And on the other side, we have the symbiote costume. And, that would be like the dark side. And so we have Black Cat over on that side. And on the traditional side, we'll have Mary Jane. And then in the background, I wanted to do kind of a moon and a sun. So on Mary Jane's side, I wanted to have the sun, maybe blue sky, just make it look very pleasant. And then on the other side, I wanted to have, the moon, and then it would be night with maybe some stars. And so it's just a contrast, kind of a yin yang sketch. So now I'm just working on some details on Mary Jane's clothing. And I just put that typical, I think J. Scott Campbell had come up with that Spider-Man face on the middle of her t-shirt. And then now I'm going to some costume elements on Spider-Man and working on his spider emblem. And, all this stuff is, I didn't reference anything because I know these characters well enough. But if you are drawing, I do suggest that you reference at least for a while until you really get a firm grasp and understanding of each character that you're drawing. Now, I don't know what your skill level is, if you're really good with anatomy, or, if you struggle, or if you're good with line work or not. Either case, if you're not aware, I am a instructor and a mentor for art. I have my own business called Comic Art Mastery, where I do private one-on-one sessions, as well as small group training classes that are all live. But I also I've launched several courses on, platforms like Udemy and Skillshare and Gumroad and all that good stuff too. So if you're not following me, like I said, subscribe here. But you can also find me on Instagram at Van Orden Art. And I do put a link bio there where you can get access to all of my courses. But anyway, now I'm working on some details with Felicia Hardy. And, with this, I wanted to give her kind of a flirty look. And I think I'll even correct her mask there. I don't think I like the way it turned out. When you're drawing faces from a different angle like that, it can be kind of challenging. And you want to make sure that you're capturing the right emotions, and you want to make, like in this case, I was trying to make both females look flirtatious. And Spider-Man is kind of just a head-on shot, but he's got his legs spread, shoulder width apart, and he's confident, but he also has a decision to make, I suppose. And then now I'm working on some details on Black Cat's costume going down, and really just want to get everything looking crisp. And what I did with this sketch, which is a little different than a lot of my other work, is I left a lot of shading out, because I figured with this one it would look really cool if I left all the shading and all that good stuff to the colorist and just let them kind of have their way with it. So yeah, I'm just doing mostly line work and leaving a lot of room for shade and values and all that good stuff for the colorist. And now I'm just kind of honing in on the anatomy of the leg on Spider-Man. And again, I'll keep a lot of this open, just because I think sometimes you can take away from the art if you over render, especially on a piece like this. And so I'm just trying to keep it as simplified as possible. So, I'm not sure what your style is, but when I'm drawing, I tend to kind of bounce all over the place. I'll usually start from the top left and work my way, over and work my way down. And that's just to prevent smearing. But as you can see, I wear a glove. I forget the name of the glove, but I think I got it on Amazon for like $5 or $10. And I do that when I'm drawing digitally as well. But basically that helps to prevent smearing. And then with my left hand, I'll use either a ruler or another, scrap sheet of paper, and just prevent smearing all around. So we're working in some details on Black Cat's costume and her anatomy. And then, I think I'll jump up to her hand here pretty soon. And Spider-Man's hand, he's got his hands on both of the women. And kind of, what I'm trying to do is the composition was intended to be balanced, like a yin yang. And I wanted everything to be kind of equally placed apart. And but I also wanted to show each character's personality within the sketch. So, art is communication, right? So even a single sketch like this should kind of communicate to your audience. So whoever's looking at this, if this was your first time seeing these characters, you should be able to tell, like, one character, Mary Jane might be a little bit more innocent than the character on the other side, which would be Black Cat. And then when this is colored, I suspect it'll look pretty cool, with the moonlight in the background on the symbiote side and the sun on the other side. And it'll just give that good contrast of, night and day, good and evil, right and wrong, all that stuff. So I think I wasn't too happy with Black Cat's mask. So I think I will be jumping over there and making some corrections after I finish up her hand. And, remember, you're seeing all this happen in 15 minutes, where it actually took me about an hour and a half to do this rendering stage, which is pretty fast. Even an hour and a half is pretty fast. It used to take me a lot longer, but I've just gotten to a point where, I kind of see what I want before I even start. So yeah, here I go. I'm making some adjustments on her eyes. And guys, don't be afraid to use your eraser. That's what it's for. I like to make corrections on the spot in real time. It's a lot easier to do that than to come back later and try and make adjustments after you've already finished your piece. So it's like editing, right? So you do if you're a writer, you write down your first draft, which would be your underdrawing, and then you make your corrections and you get all your information there. And then you can come back and fine tune it later. Like with this part of the art, we're doing the fine tuning, the final rendering. But you don't want to send something off to an editor or to a client, and then they want you to change something. You want to make it look as good as possible. I hope that makes sense. And while we're kind of watching this, what are your struggles? Do you guys struggle with anything in particular? Do you have any sticking points? Maybe anatomy or faces, or drawing in perspective, or all the above? List in the comments, what some of your struggles are, so that I can have some, future ideas for videos. And like I'll give you my information. I'll include it in the link below. But yeah, if you're interested in taking one of my courses, I usually have them on sale. And I've gotten tons of good feedback, and I still communicate with all my students. But yeah, I mean, if you got a few hours a week on your hands and you're really dedicated to drawing, it doesn't hurt to take a few courses, whether they're mine or someone else's. Just make sure it's someone that you can, you're identifying with, and you can, for me in particular, I have a lot of artists I really admire, and I really look up to, and it's always been that way for me. Unfortunately, growing up, I didn't have the resources as you guys have now. There weren't too many classes available. We had those Stan Lee videos that were like an hour long, and we had How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, which is an awesome book, and I still love it. But other than that, we didn't have live feedback or videos like this. So you guys are really, really fortunate, not just with mine, but with all the great artists and talent out there that are doing something similar. Oh, I also had this other idea, and I might start implementing it here on YouTube, but maybe I'll start having you guys, if you're my students or something like that, sending in some of your artwork, and then I can kind of pop it up on screen and do some live critiques and make some adjustments and corrections on it. And because I find a lot of my students, they all have similar problems and issues and sticking points. So a lot of times your issues or the problems with art can be solved just by watching someone else solve their problem. So yeah, so I'm doing some rendering on Mary Jane. I think I'm almost finished up now. I really did like this profile shot of her. I think she looked adorable and cute and flirtatious, and I liked everything about the sketch. It was a really fun one, and I think it'll look really cool colored. So that's a big reason why I left all the line work as clean as possible. I don't know. I might have this inked or ink it myself on a separate page. I can either do it digitally or just reprint it. But anyway, we are getting very close to the end of this, and let's see, we got about 2 minutes left. So while we're here and we're watching, again, just want to remind you that my name is Mike Van Orden. I am a professional artist, and I do live training courses, and I also take on private one-on-one sessions. But I also make a lot of courses and promote them and launch them on different platforms like Udemy and Skillshare and all that good stuff. So if you're looking to get better with your art, I encourage you to take a look at those courses and keep watching these videos on YouTube. I'll try and provide as much value as I can to you guys. But ultimately, what I want from you is some feedback. Just let me know if this is helpful, and if there's anything that I can do differently that would make learning easier for you, or if there's a topic in particular that you want me to touch on and help you with, because I certainly will. Yeah, so coming up on the final little details here, I was so tempted to start shading in Spider-Man, and you guys have all been there. I just know from past experience that when you start doing things like that, go with your gut. And my gut was telling me, don't shade too much, don't overdo this one. Leave some room for a colorist to work on, or leave some room for imagination. And I think that was the best way to go. And if you want to see a better photo of this, I've scanned it and I've uploaded it to my Instagram page, so you can see it there. And at the end of this video, I'll give you guys a close-up of the scan as well, which is coming up very soon, in less than 30 seconds. So I'll sign it here. And I try to get a little creative and divide my signature in half. And here we go. Thanks for joining, guys. I'll see you in the next one.